It is my pleasure to welcome each one of you for the last session. So I am very happy that now, for the last session, one of my favorite professors is here. Can you imagine I ask all my favorite professors to come to this conference, and they came. So I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Safary Wa-Mbaleka. He's an American educator and researcher. He specializes in the fields of curriculum and instruction, applied linguistics, online education, and qualitative research. He is currently a research associate professor at Bethel University in St. Paul, Minnesota, USA, but not for a long time. I think Dr. Safary will tell us something more about this. He has taught at several universities in the USA, Puerto Rico, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Myanmar, Thailand, Philippines, and Kenya. He has authored and co-authored about 50 journals articles in national and international peer-reviewed journals, and more than 30 books and book chapters. Some of his major recently editing publications include the Sage Handbook of Online Higher Education, published in 2024, the Sage Handbook of Qualitative Research, 2020, Qualitative Research for Practical Theology, 2023, and Qualitative Research for Practical Theology, so quantitative and qualitative, 2020. He is expecting next the Handbook of Integration of Faith and Learning, which is currently in press. He has delivered several conference presentations and research seminars in about 20 countries, mainly on research, education, and applied linguistics. Dr. Safary holds 2 doctorates and 3 master's degrees, mainly from the USA, and currently completing a PhD in qualitative research in Cyprus. He has been a chief editor of 2 other journals, an associate editor for a couple, and a peer reviewer of more than 20 national and international journals in the Philippines, Thailand, Kenya, Europe, and the USA. He was the founding president of the Asian Qualitative Research Association, the leading active qualitative research association in the whole Asia today. So let us welcome Dr. Safary with the presentation, The Value of Education and Social Science Research, Challenges and Opportunities for Various Professions. Welcome, Dr. Safary. We are happy to have you here.
Good evening, everyone. That sounds like people who are really tired. Good evening. Definitely, yes, that's much better. Hello. I like that. I think although it is already a long day, we want to end on a positive note where we have a little bit of energy. And it is a great delight for me to be here. I just arrived, I think, about 30 minutes ago from the airport. And we were just rushing. Dr. Petra was driving, and I'm glad we made it before the end of the day. I consider it a great honor for me to be part of the first international conference of this university. When Dr. Janina contacted me several months ago to be part of this, I could not say no, because I know from the days in the Philippines that whatever she puts her finger on is always excellent. And so that's the reason why I could not say no. I quickly accepted. And I'm sorry that I had to come a day later because I'm in transition to a new job. That's what is happening. So I had another meeting yesterday until 4 p.m. before I headed to the airport. Today I'm talking about the value of educational and social science research. and we're going to look at the challenges and opportunities for various professions, because I heard this evening we have social sciences, we have education, and we have theology as well. And so I've kind of considered those different fields in mind in this presentation. But as I start, I want to share with you a personal experience that happened way back when I was in my second year of college. That's a long time ago. I didn't notice it until I was thinking about this illustration on my flight. I was entering my first research class. It was my first time ever to take research in my life. And we were 150 students in one auditorium. And the professor came. This professor was a famous professor, known nationwide. He had published a lot of research textbooks and statistics textbooks. And so he was well known. You mention that name. If you mention the name to other students, they know that you have been with the greatest of the professors. And when he entered, we all kept quiet. You know, I heard earlier that back in the days it was like that here in Romania. When somebody who was in power entered the room, everybody kept quiet. It was like that for me as well at that point. When he entered, the 150 people, men and women, old and young, we kept quiet. He had this long beard, and he stood up front, and he looked at the whole audience, 150 people. And all of us are just looking at him. We just want to know, what is he going to say? What is the first word he's going to say? And then he opened his mouth, and he said a sentence that I will never forget because it was a traumatic sentence. He said, "You will all fail." What? Because research and statistics were things that were extremely scary to people. And he added fear to us by saying, "You will all fail." And when he saw that we were really scared from what he said, then he started laughing and said, "Oh, okay, thank God." He was joking. He was actually not meaning that we're going to fail. Yeah, some people ended up failing, but not all of us failed. So you may be one of the people who are afraid of research. And trust me, it doesn't matter if you're a professor or a student. I know we have students and professors in this audience. It doesn't matter. We have both students and professors who are excited about research, and we have students and professors who are afraid of research. Yes, I have seen them in many different parts of the world. But we are here this week because we believe that research is good and research should be something that all of us should embrace, and because we want to believe that research can transform the way we do things, the way we teach, the way we deal with the people as social scientists, the way we preach. Research can bring a positive impact on what we do. And so let's take the next 30 minutes to look at it from multiple angles. And I'm going to start, because we have students as well, I'm going to start with just the definition of research so that we are all moving in together. Those who are ahead, like Dr. Maria, Dr. Janina, please bear with us for the first 5 minutes. We're going to go to the basics, and then we're going to build from there. So here is the plan. We're going to define what is research, what is the importance of research. We're going to look at the common challenges, because this is a part of your theme of this conference. We're going to look at how to develop cultural, the research culture, the role of research in the church. Since we have theologians here, we're going to look at how we are doing this, and this part of my new job. We're going to talk about how we are doing this at the General Conference. For those who are Adventists, you know what it means. Then we're going to look at the future of research. Where do we want to go? Where are we headed with this? And then I'm going to share some useful resources that you can use. So here is the definition. There are so many definitions, but I selected two just for us to have a common understanding of what research is. It's a systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data to understand or address an issue. So we have to have a systematic way of collecting data, analyzing it, interpreting it, but for the purpose of generating solutions. But there is more to that than just solving an issue, and we're going to look at that very soon. I like another definition that came from Western Sydney University. They define research as a creation of new knowledge. Creation. Whenever we conduct research, we are creating something. And the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative way. So we can conduct research that is going to generate something completely new, or we can go to the library and collect data from what has been written and create something, creatively we can create something new, as to generate new concepts, methodologies, and understanding. We conduct research because we want to understand. We want to understand what is happening. Something is happening. You find people are complaining about the same issue. Maybe it's a problem with the professors for those who are students. Maybe it's a problem with the administration for those who are faculty. Maybe it's a problem with the professors for the administration. They feel like the professors are not doing their job. Maybe it's a problem that we have in the community. Maybe the church that we planted somewhere is not working. We want to understand what is happening. We conduct research. We conduct research to innovate, to generate new strategies, new methods, new models. And this is what is needed even in theology. We want to preach better. We want to improve the programs. We will need to conduct research. Those who are in the classroom, we need to conduct research. If students keep failing in statistics, Dr. Maria, if students keep struggling with statistics, there's got to be something that is messing them up. And so we need to find out, why is that? And of course, part of it we know is because everybody says that statistics is difficult. But how can we change that mindset? So we'll conduct research to do that, or communicating different teaching strategies. We can conduct research for new knowledge, where we generate hypotheses for those who are doing quantitative research, or theories. Now, those who are doing masters, I know you have some master students here. You start hearing the word theories as you go higher and higher. These are generated using research. We conduct research to generate solutions in order to improve the profession, or the systems, or the culture, or society, or the church, or the community. Whenever there's a problem, we want to understand it and solve it systematically. We conduct research. For decision making, you want to open new programs at Adventus University, you will need research. And in fact, for you to get an accreditation for AAA, you always have to do needs analysis. And that it doesn't matter if it's a theology program or social science program or education program, there is a requirement of needs analysis. We conduct research for planning, we conduct research for accountability to know how effective specific programs are, how effective specific departments are, how effective services are. This is the reason why, for students, sometimes you'll find the university asking you to participate in a survey. Maybe about the cafeteria, maybe about the dormitory, maybe about the church services. Unfortunately, many times, people do not participate in the surveys. And therefore, you miss out on an opportunity to bring in change. Because if you are able to fill up those surveys, then those who ask for those surveys, they are in a situation to understand what is happening. How happy are people about the classrooms, about the campus, about the food, about the professors, about the students, about the administration? This is a way for us to improve what is happening, and also to hold people accountable. What is true about research is that it's done systematically. It follows established methods. So if we are doing whatever you want, it's not research. It is with a clearly defined problem, And that is for a specific purpose. So we cannot just do research. What research? Why are you doing research? I'm just doing research. No, we must have a specific purpose. It is expected of all the scholars. And you say, well, I'm not a scholar, I'm a student. But you are a student who is on the process to become a scholar. Therefore, you need to hone your skills as a researcher, and that's a good thing that you have attended this evening. I remember when Dr. Janina was still my student in the Philippines, she did a lot of research, and she published a lot of research. We attended the conference together. She spoke at several conferences together. So it can never be too early for you to get started. If you're a student, you do research. If you're a faculty, you do research. If you're an administrator, you do research. In fact, I looked at the program and I saw that I think the president himself is going to present as well. I think I saw something like that. Research, what I have noticed is that it sets you apart from the crowd. Everybody can get a bachelor's degree. Everybody can get a master's degree. Everybody can eventually get a doctorate, but not everybody is doing research. Not everybody is publishing. So the day you graduate, for those who are students, let me talk to you. The day you graduate, and let's say you are called to teach in higher education, because if you're teaching in elementary school, that's not really required that much. Let's assume that you are called to teach in a university. So you'll have 10 people who are going to apply for the same job. How are they going to choose which one to hire? It's the only thing that sets you apart from the crowd, and that is research. And that applies as well to the faculty. I want to read something here. It's interesting that we can get some inspiration about research from Ellen G. White, who says, the great system of truth is not so presented as to be discerned by the hasty or careless reader. We do not do research hastily. It has to be systematic, and therefore it takes a little bit more time than just common sense. Many of its treasures lie far beneath the surface, and it can be obtained only by what? Diligent research and continuous effort. That's why it just looks like research is difficult, but it's not difficult. It's simply because there are established rules, established methods, established procedures that we have to follow. The first time we do it, it is hard. Everybody who has ever done research, it's like that. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Recently, I was looking at Dr. Janina's CV. I was shocked. In just a few years, she published so many articles than I could ever imagine. I used to be the most published person at a certain point in the university where you studied, but I don't think I can top you at this point. She's publishing a lot because she started somewhere. And if you ask her, I don't think she will tell you that it was very easy at the beginning. No. But she was determined to actually put in effort and do it. And now it has become an addiction, right? Yeah, it becomes an addiction. At a certain point, it becomes an addiction. Dr. Anna Cohen-Miller, we have worked together on many publications. I just met her the first time 15 minutes ago. But we have worked together on many publications. And she has also published a lot. And she will tell you as well that it becomes an addiction when you do this, because ideas just keep coming up in your head. You cannot stop. It just keeps calling you. Dr. Maria, we worked together in the Philippines, although she's coming from Latin America. And when we were there, she was also presenting a lot. So if I can do it, if Dr. Janina can do it, if Dr. Maria can do it, if Dr. Anna can do it, I think we can all do it. Let's do it. Just like when we take classes, we have to do it. And when we do it, we pass, we find, and we go on to the next class. Let's do research. And at the beginning, we may struggle a little bit, but we will find ourselves getting better and better and better. There are three domains of research. Again, I'm going back to the beginning. We have the positivist domain. We have the interpretivist domain, and we have the critical domain. Every research, there are many others, but these are the major ones. These are the ones that I love talking about because they're very distinct. The others that come after that, they overlap, but these three are clearly different. What is the difference? And why is this important? It is important because when you undertake your research, we need to know what is behind your thinking. So, the first one is what Dr. Maria likes, is quantitative research. What is quantitative research driven by? What is the philosophy behind quantitative research? It's to predict things, to control variables, to do experimental designs and correlational designs, and looking at causal relationships between variables. If that's what's interesting to you, then you need to find some time with Dr. Maria, and she will have a very nice session with you. I heard last night she had a good session with you on quantitative research, because her brain works numbers. I was privileged to influence Dr. Janina to love the second domain. I don't know if she has changed after she came back to Romania, but when she was in the Philippines, she was much more inclined towards qualitative research. So what do we do in the qualitative research? We are looking into understanding things in depth. What meaning people make of what they're living. What is it like to work at Adventus? What is it like to study at Adventus? What are the positive and negative things? Would you want to send your daughter here someday when your daughter is big enough to go to university? If not, why not? If yes, why? If you're asking that kind of questions, we are into interpretivist domain. But the critical side is challenging the status quo. People are doing things that just don't make sense, and you want to do something about that. So you want to analyze the power. There's usually a power struggle. Somebody who has power and others don't have it, and there's oppression happening. You want to emancipate people. You want to raise their consciousness. You want to advocate for change. You want to challenge the system because you understand the system has issues. Some countries, I don't know about Romania, some countries, women are oppressed. And therefore, somebody who is in the critical research will say, okay, I want to do research to emancipate the women and to give them power because they are powerless. And so if that is what drives you, and some people just have that drive, and that drive is Dr. Anna Cohen-Miller. She's doing a social responsibility. A lot of her research is on social responsibility. And a number of the presentations and some of the things we have done is about advocacy, using research to advocate for a cause, to transform. And when you look at Jesus Christ, for those who are theologians, wasn't he the best in this area? He sat down with the people with leprosy. He forgave a woman caught in adultery. By the way, they never talked about the man who was involved in the same adultery. He just showed that society was against women. He goes into the temple and tells people, you are just like snakes, you like serpents. I mean, you had to be the most revolutionary leader in the time of Jesus to say things like that. So I know Dr. Mia would want Jesus to be positivist and numbers. I think he did, because he didn't multiply the bread and the fish. But most of his life, I think, was more on the critical side, because he was challenging the system, because the system had oppressed people so much that there were so many laws that had been put on people. So, what are the challenges we find in research? This comes from a study that, two studies, one I did in the Philippines and the other one, you heard I'm defending my dissertation very soon on qualitative research. So there's an overlap on these two. What are the common challenges? There's a long list, but I'm giving just a few. Time. There's not enough time. But we need to create it, because we'll never have enough time to do research. We have to create it. Just like we create time to love, we create time to be with family, we create time to do extracurricular activities, we have to create time for research. There's limited training, because many times the only training people have had is one research class in the undergraduate or master's program. It's good that at the doctoral level you have several research classes, but it's not a training that you find commonly. Weak research culture. Some institutions, they don't really emphasize on research. I know some universities, I want to mention the name, they just tell you up front that the only thing we expect from you as a faculty is to teach. If you do research, that's an added bonus, but if you don't do research, that's fine. But listen, when we don't do research, we are missing out on an opportunity to improve teaching, because research informs teaching. Research informs practice in the community. Research informs the church. Research informs everything that we do. So if we do not do that, research, if there's a weak research culture, that means even the practice, the profession itself is weak. Heavy quantitative research, and some universities, they don't even have qualitative research, and therefore the people who are not into quantitative research, they are left out. And I have always loved asking this question. I want to ask it here, but in the Philippines, wherever I would speak about qualitative research, I ask people, how many of you love statistics? And it's usually about 10%. Dr. Maria, no offense. No offense, but it's every single time I saw that was, just for the show of hand, it was always around 10%. So we have 90% of people whose mind works primarily as interpretivists and the critical research, and yet the curriculum is overwhelmingly quantitative in nature. So that's why we did in where Dr. Janina studied, we balanced the two. We have equal number of quantitative research and qualitative research. So in the end, you can choose what you want to do, but at least you are trained equally. Fear of research. But I'm telling you, fear no more this afternoon. That's the reason why we are here for this whole week, is for us to reduce that fear. Limited funding, because many institutions do not fund research. But guess what? There's a lot, here in Europe, there's a lot of organizations, funding agencies. You can always apply for funding. That's not a problem. Besides, there are a number of research issues that you can deal with without spending a lot of money. I have done it myself, and you just have to look into that while you wait for the money to come in. And the last one, having no reward. There's no remuneration, really. You're not paid extra to conduct research in most universities. If there's a little incentive, it's really nothing compared to the work that is done. So when we do research, obviously we do it for the passion of research, but also for the sake of our practice, because we want to improve our practice. What is expected of us as researchers? Collaboration. Because with collaboration, we can use each other's strengths. If somebody's good in statistics, I can team up with Dr. Maria because I'm not very good in statistics. And maybe for qualitative research, she can team up with me and rely on me, because then we complement each other like that. Technology-integrated research methods. You are the technology generation. Use technology to make things easier for you. For example, for us, qualitative research now, we don't have to transcribe like the first time I did qualitative research. I had to transcribe every word, but now you have artificial intelligence that can transcribe for you without having to waste so much time. Use of artificial intelligence and big data, that is another thing that is coming up. Intercultural and intergenerational communication. When you are collaborating with other people, you will deal with people from different generations, and you deal with people from different cultures. So we need to develop those competencies when we are digging deeper into research. We need to think about mixed methods research. approaches, because then we are not going to find out which one is better. Because if you ask me, I will tell you that qualitative research is the best. So you ask Dr. Maria, she said quantitative research is the best. Let's be friends. Let's use both, because each side has its strength and its weaknesses. Multidisciplinary research is something that's being encouraged a lot, especially if you're looking for funding. If you're looking for funding, they want people coming from different fields to come together as a team to submit a proposal, because there's strength in all those areas coming together. Integrity is also very, very important. And from integrity, we have ethics and all these other things. We don't do research and try to hide behind what we did, but we do things with integrity, especially that you are all Christians. That is expected. How do we develop the culture of research? This comes, again, from the study I just completed this year. We need investment in instructional and human resources. We need champions. These are the people who are passionate about research. So we need a champion for quantitative research. We need a champion for qualitative research. We need a champion for historical research. We need a champion from systematic theology. So people who are going to push and sustain research and provide the expertise. And for those who are learners, we need to go to the mentors. These champions are the mentors. We need to go to them. We need to ask guidance from them. We need training. We need mentoring. We need collaboration. We need to be members of research organizations. Just as you are members of the Adventist Church or Catholic Church or Baptist Church, that's how you grow as a member of that denomination. We need to be also members of research organizations if we want to grow as researchers. And in fact, some universities will require students and faculty, of course, to be members of research organizations. It is a requirement. But a number of universities don't require that. You don't need to wait for it to be a requirement for you to join. We need time off for faculty research, and I think we have some administrators here. Different universities offer different deal with this differently, but from personal experience, I saw this working, increasing the productivity of research in the universities, because now faculty were given time off for research. And we need incentivization. We need reward systems for students. Maybe students who did the research, if they are able to complete a study and it was accepted to present in Japan, maybe the university should give maybe 50% of their fare to go and present in Japan. So that is something that's going to incentivize them. And of course, having grants, small grants for research for students and of course for faculty. Where do we see this in the church? What role does research play in the church? We are doing evaluate the effectiveness of programs, projects, organizations, departments, and institutions. AAA, when they come for accreditation, they're actually doing research. We just don't call it research, but it's research. And now at the General Conference, we are doing research. For example, recently we conducted evaluation research with Adventist World Radio, Adventist Review, Missions Department, and so on. And we have specific steps and resources that we use for that. So we can do this to improve actually the services. We do research for needs analysis. We do research to understand the current state of the church. For example, what do church members believe? What are the struggles that they have? As far as the belief system is concerned, where are they in those belief systems? What programs do they like? What are the challenges that they're facing that need to be addressed? And so from this research, we give the findings to the Strategic Planning Committee. In fact, we just had a meeting last week. So they look at this to create the strategic plan for the next 5 years. So the draft is ready now, for those who are Adventists, for the 2025-2030 quinquennial. And that is based on the data that was collected worldwide. It was close to 150,000 members who participated in these studies. And so now people are participating in the decision-making of the Adventist Church worldwide, not just North America, because before whatever came from America, that was it. But now even people from Romania are contributing to what is happening in the strategic plan. So in the future, we're getting close to the end. In the future, what do we want to see? We want to see inter-institution collaboration, not just doing things by ourselves. University-church collaboration, because the church does not really do a whole lot of research. It's usually universities that do research. Research as a source of funding. I know that in the Adventist schools, at least Adventist University, most of those that I have worked with, and I've worked with so many of them, funding is always a challenge. Money is always a challenge. But we can conduct research and generate money for the university. That is happening. More data-driven decision-making, so that things are not done just from common sense. We'll see increase of research organizations. We'll see an increase in the quantity and the quality of research production, and we'll see a variety of research approaches and methods being done. Not just qualitative research, not just quantitative research, not just historical research, not just whatever other methods we have, but we'll see different methods coming together to do that. I want to introduce you to 3 organizations. It's called ASHRA, Adventist Human Subject Researchers Association. Anybody has heard of that? Okay. This one is, right now we have 3 branches. The first one is at Adventus. That is the first one that was created. And we'll have the conference, I will be attending the 3 of them, May 22 to 25. The next one is ASHRA Africa, which is the branch of that one. It's June 19 to 23. And then ASHRA Asia, that will be in July 9, 10. It will be in the Philippines. The one in Africa will be in South Africa. These scholars are coming together to actually discuss Adventist church problems. And please, if you're an Adventist, I encourage you to consider attending. And I think the one for Asia is still open for abstracts. If you want to present, you can still submit an abstract. I don't think the one in Andrews has closed, so you can just attend. And the one in South Africa, I think, is also closed. But you can check the websites, because the websites are here. The first 2, one in Adventus, the first one, and the second one is the one in Africa. The one in the Philippines, they don't have a website yet, but we have ACRA, which is the Asian Qualitative Research Association. If you feel called by qualitative research, then you may want to look for that. The next one is adventisteducation.org. For those who are in education, please go to this website and you'll find a lot of materials for education, because it's not always easy to find those materials. The next one for pastors, theologians, encyclopedia.adventist.org. By the way, this one is not only for theologians, it's for everybody. And the one who's chairing this is my neighbor at my office. They are basically collecting the history of the Adventist Church from everywhere in the world. And if you haven't heard about this, especially from theology, please talk to me and I'll connect you to the person who's in charge of this, because we want to know how church started in Romania, how it started in the UK, in Mexico, in Brazil, in Zimbabwe, in Malawi. We want to know exactly how it started. And all those different things need to be to be done. And you can access that website and access all this information from everywhere in the world. And these articles, the good thing is that they are written by people that you know. So if you will read an article from Romania, you may actually notice whoever wrote that. The other one is our AdventusArchives.org. For those who are in historical research, this is where you'll find the information. Statistics about the church, for example. How many members joined last year worldwide? You can find the yearbook. I think the yearbook is also put there. And that's where you'll find that. But if you are interested specifically about research, you are interested with research, then you go to adventusresearch.info. And this is where my office is, adventusresearch.info. We have all the research that has been conducted, I think, for the last 10 years or more. Surveys, we have evaluations, and we have reports there presented. The general, we call it a meta-analysis for the whole world, 150,000 for the study that was just completed last month. Or you want to look at your division, you have the report for your division there. And within the division, we are going to have also reports by your union. So you can see what your members, people in your country or your division or your union or your conference believe. And it's just fascinating. It's fascinating. I don't have time to share that with you, but here is the website. It will look like this. The first part, you will see strategic plan. So you can, all the strategic plans, that's where they are. Once the first one is ready, we will put it there. The new one that is coming up is supposed to be finalized any week now. The blog, we submit this every 2 weeks. We publish. In fact, I'm publishing another one tomorrow, I think, or next week. Conferences. Whenever we have conferences, Research Adventist conferences, we put them there. In fact, the next time you have conference for Adventists, let me know, and I'll put it there. I promise that. I talked to ASTR director. I said, let's put all the conferences for the Adventist universities here so that people know we can promote the conferences of our institutions. Where you see the reports, this is where you have all the studies, all the statistical information, all the surveys, and how they were conducted. You'll find it there, and you can look at that by division or the whole thing. The evaluation, where we look at the effectiveness of the departments and the programs. And the announcements, we haven't done a whole lot on that one, but whenever we have an announcement, we put it there. If you click at the research report, you'll find presentations that come from our office, so you can download those presentations. We don't keep them confidential, especially if they are presented at ASHRA conferences. We have general research, and we have some specific projects that are commissioned by the church. We have partners, and I'm hoping that sooner or later we'll partner with Adventus. Right now we partner with Andrews University, I think Montemorelos, and Southern Adventist University, Oakwood University, and things like that. I didn't see any partnership that we have with Europe. And I was sharing with our department that we need a strong presence of partnership with Europe. So the first one to invite me is somebody I'm interested in making a partnership with Adventus, and we'll talk about that this week some other time. If you want to know, to regularly receive information about the new research, just in snippet, just one page, please go to the newsletter and click subscribe. And once you click subscribe, whenever we send the newsletter out with, usually is something just like 1-2 pages of this is what is happening in research. This is what research has shown. This is what research has shown. And you are able to get that very easily. Before I end, I want to introduce to you a few books here that some of the books that Dr. Janina mentioned. This is the U.S. Online Higher Education, the Sage Handbook of Online Higher Education. Dr. Cohen Miller and Dr. Janina were contributors to this book. We have published "O Perish Fear No More." This is one of my favorite ones. It's one of those that I published the first time. This is for people who want to really publish. And all these books are available on Amazon. The Sage Handbook of Qualitative Research in the Asian context, it may sound like it's for Asia only, but a lot of the concepts there are applicable anywhere in the world. Again, Dr. Anna Cohen-Miller and Dr. Janina contributed to that book. Quantitative Research for Practical Theology, for theologians. This is social science research, how to do that in practical theology. We published this at Andrews University, and we have some of the big names that you know in research, in theological research. Then we have the qualitative side, of course. That was the first one, because I'm doing qualitative research for practical theology as well. For those who want to do thesis or dissertation in qualitative research, that is the one that you would need. And last one for faculty who want to advise students, because we discovered that many faculty may want to push for qualitative research, but they don't know how because they have never been trained for that. And so that goes the last book for that. So let's conclude this session. The value of research cannot be underestimated. It's very, very important in any profession. And today, even the church has recognized that. That's the reason why we have one whole department for research at the General Conference. And we're hoping that it will go down to the divisions as well. And this is the whole reason why the education department as well does a lot of research to understand what is happening with our schools. Some countries, for example, I was shocked to find that some countries like India, the Bible class is taught by a non-Christian. Can you imagine that? A non-Christian teaching Bible in an Adventist school. So without research, we didn't know these issues and try to find solution to that. Developing research skills must be required of all in higher education, because even if you're teaching in an elementary school, you can always use those research skills to improve the experiences of your students. Mentoring is essential in research, because just taking the class alone is not enough. But when you continuously learn beyond the classroom, you learn much, much better. Research culture must be fostered because it is that important. And last, collaboration creates research and publication synergy. Don't do it alone, especially if you've never done research before, if you have never published before. Talk to somebody who has published. Approach Dr. Janina. Approach the other professors here. And professors, please, I don't know the culture in Romania. I know some countries that I want to mention where professors don't want to involve their students because they want to be the only ones to publish and to do research. That's another culture that we had. I think that, Janina, you were able to publish and conduct research with a lot of your faculty as well. And so, faculty, let's mentor our students while they are learning, taking the baby steps in their research. And before you know it, you will be honored, like I'm honored today that Dr. Janina, my former student, is directing this conference. I mean, that was exciting for me to know. Let's end with this quote. The world has had its great teachers, men of giant intellect and extensive research, men whose utterances have stimulated thought and opened to view vast fields of knowledge. And these men have been honored as guides and benefactors of their race. But there is one who stands higher than all of them. Every gleam of thought, every flash of the intellect is from the light of the world. And we know exactly who is the light of the world. So as much as we get excited about research, we need to do it in the glory of God. So that whatever challenge was, where we have fear, we will have courage. Where we have limited knowledge, we'll have empowerment. Where we have competition, we'll have collaboration. Where research is a challenge, research becomes a solution. Where we have status quo, we have positive change. Where we have common sense, only people making decisions on common sense. We have a data-driven decision-making. Where we have reliance on existing theory, we are able to generate new theories. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Safary. We have some minutes for questions. So, who is the courageous to address a question or more? No one? Please.
Hello, thank you. So when you were mentioning about the challenge in research culture, you said there is weak research culture, and that is a challenge. And I was wondering if a conservative mindset that is found in the church is responsible for halting this weak research culture?
I think it's many different factors. Thank you so much for that question. There are many factors. Mindset could be one of them, although the research study that I just finished just this year did not mention the mindset being a problem. But there is a chance, there's a possibility for the mindset to be a problem. One that really kept coming up is people not knowing how. It's weak because if a professor is weak in research, they're not going to inspire students to do research. And therefore, they won't be research because if faculty members are afraid of research, they cannot. Or maybe they are very busy that they don't have time for research. Therefore, they cannot say, students, we need to do research. The research is very good. It's not going to happen. So, but for the two studies, even talking to people, what commonly comes up, and which I firmly believe, is the lack of the expertise. People wish they could do it, but they're afraid because they don't feel like they are equipped to do research. And so, therefore, training should always be part of that. She will recall that at IAS we would have colloquia every 2 weeks, research colloquia, or webinars now after COVID-19, it was webinars. Every 2 weeks, every other week we had one, and it's free, 1 hour. And people who attended regularly, they grew exponentially with the research. Those who did not, they stayed exactly where they were. And so personally, at least from that evidence, I can say that training makes a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So it's someone else who wants to address another one? Oh, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation also, and I wanted to ask, you made a point during the presentation that there's a strong correlation between research and practice, that the practice that derives from research. How do you accommodate the discrepancy between popular knowledge or popular beliefs and research that's being done currently? It's clear that some research gain popularity faster than other research, and they become implemented in the church or in the organizations, but some are not as popular, and they don't deliver significant means in practice soon enough. And how would you accommodate, let's say, some research that doesn't end up so quickly put into practice?
That's a complex question that you have there, and I will try to piece it out into small pieces so that I can address it. First one, research and popular knowledge. Popular knowledge, to me, is good. It's good. Let me just establish that popular knowledge is good. That's what we live by every day anyways. But it has a limit, because certain things have become common knowledge, commonly accepted without challenging the status quo. One of my students, before she went to the Philippines, conducted a study on women leaders in the Adventist church. She interviewed presidents, vice presidents, deans of university and colleges. And after 150 years of the Adventist church, the number was not even 20 worldwide. Popular knowledge, whenever we look for a president, the tendency is to go for a man. We are not aware of it. When CVs come, it's like our brain goes automatically to men. It's popular knowledge. It's accepted. But is it right? With so many women today, Adventists, who have PhDs, who have finished PhD in administration, PhD in leadership, you can tell they are great leaders. In fact, some who have been tried to be put as presidents or dean or vice president, they have gone on to do a better job than us men. Why have we been hesitant to appoint women in leadership positions? Okay, I'm not talking about women ordination and everything. That's theologians who discuss that. I'm talking about education because I come from education. So research comes in to reveal this. For the study that was just published last month from the General Conference, one of the questions, and you'll find the report there if you want to look into that, one of the questions was about the state of the dead. Do the dead people continue to live after they're dead? As far as the doctrines are concerned, no. The dead, it's dirt, and when Jesus comes back, you resurrect and you go. But you know that close to 10% of the 150,000 members who participated either said, yes, there is a life for the dead, or they don't actually know. Close to 10%. So, yes, we have the common knowledge that, okay, we believe in the state of the dead, that's everything, everybody knows that. But if we didn't do that research, we wouldn't know that, hey, there is an issue that is happening here. So now in the strategic plan, guess what? The General Conference, the Strategic Planning Committee, they say, okay, this becomes a problem. We didn't know. If you were just talking to somebody in a church, nobody will tell you, oh, no. Nobody will even know that because it's popular knowledge that we don't believe that somebody is flying somewhere when they're dead. But from the data, we get a better dimension on that. The second part of your question, I forgot it now because we went so much. Can you address the second part, please, so that I can address it? If we still have time. 2 minutes? Okay.
Sorry for the length of the question. The second part was the fact that some research gain faster popularity faster than others, and what can we do so that research becomes faster implemented in the practice of people?
Okay. Yes. The disconnect between research and research production and research implementation, that is a common problem everywhere. Have been people always argue that, hey, we're conducting research, but we don't see any change. I think that there are many different ways that we can deal with this issue. Number one, let research be done to improve practice. If we have teaching, let's conduct research to improve teaching. That's the reason why at the end of every class, we have class evaluation. Students, I hope you fill that up honestly, because many students do not. But by filling that up, for me personally as a faculty, every time I teach that class next time, I look at the feedback the students gave me, because I want to provide them the best instruction. So when they don't fill that up, I'm really in trouble. We just realized recently, we were laughing actually in our department, that pastors are not evaluated. Church members, how many church members, no matter what religion you're in, how many of you have ever taken at the end of the month or at the end of 6 months or at the end of the year, we are going to evaluate our pastor? Please raise your hand. No. Oh, you did? Oh, really? That's wonderful. This is starting, some very few people are starting to do this in the United States. So, to me, by doing something like that, obviously it's going to impact directly the practice, because you are conducting the study to improve the practice. And of course, qualitative research. When we do conduct qualitative research, it's because we want to improve people's lives. And so that's why I'm so much into qualitative research, because every single time you do qualitative research, you try to improve somebody's life. The problem is that we conduct the thesis and dissertations, after defense we put it in the library, and nobody will ever read it again. Let's present at conferences. People will get to hear about that. Let's publish. Somebody's going to read your paper. When I speak on the seminar, I will share with you an experience like that happened, and a big change happened in the country just because of publication. I didn't know that was going to have an impact.
So the seminar is Thursday afternoon, okay, from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. So you are all invited. A short one?
Yes, very short.
A short one.
Sir, hello. Thank you for the presentation and thank you for the inherent appeal. It is well received. My question is, what would you suggest to prevent the shelving of research that is good, that goes counterculturally or against habits that need to be updated or upgraded, but eventually, because fallen human nature tends to fall back onto old ways that are more comfortable, the research becomes shelved or becomes put in a drawer?
There are two ways of shelving the research. One is really completing research and never publish it, or never present it. That is on me as the researcher. That's my problem. But we have also research that may be completed, presented, and published, and nothing happens. That one is more dangerous. And the only way this is going to happen, to be improved, to me, and I have done this personally, is to conduct institutional research. If it's something that deals with services, for example, of the university, the outcome of the institutional research should create policy. And I would think that Dr. Anna Cohen-Miller may have talked about that. Create policies that are going to improve the services, the practice. That is for the education perspective. If I conduct a research for theology, it has to be trying to find a need. For example, in our church right now, I'm a church elder. We are struggling with the transition. We have a new pastor and so on and so forth. And there are so many needs in the community. 43% of the community are immigrants in the United States. Some have language issues. Some have immigration issues. And we don't know. We have means, we have ministries, but we don't know which one we should focus on. So we were talking about it just in our meeting last week. Let's work on a survey. We went to deal with the county. Give us data. What is the most urgent need that we need to address? We were distributing food, we were distributing clothes and so on. But we discovered from the county that the needs are different. And so now we're having to shift, because we are intentionally conducting research to improve what we are doing. If somebody just does research just for the fun of it, it will be shelves, exactly as you said. But if the primary purpose is to improve human life, practice, administration, teaching, student lives, church services, if it is primarily for that, I believe it will happen, because you will be interested in knowing what people thought, because you want to use this for your strategic planning. And once people start new things, of course, we'll have the evaluation. That will be the next phase. Did it work? If it didn't work, why didn't it work? But any study that is just a generic study, it will usually end up being shelves, as you said.
Thank you very much for your questions. The time is done. So, Dr. Safary, let me present the certificate of appreciation for your presentation. So we are delighted to give you this certificate, and please accept our our thanks for all this that you have done so far. And we are looking forward for the Thursday presentation, because we have more time and we can ask more questions. We can engage in discussions. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For the last point on this day, I'm inviting our Dean, Dr. Roxana Paraschiv, to lead us in the closing ceremony.
It has been a long day, isn't it? It seems to me that the opening ceremony was 2 days ago. But it was a great day with a lot of interesting presentation and information. And now, as the first session of our conference is coming to a close in a few minutes, I would like to express our gratitude for each plenary speakers. We started the day with Dr. Maria Vallejos, and we continue with Dr. Gustavo Gregoruti, Dr. Janina Petre, Dr. Anna Cohen-Miller, and Dr. Safary Wa-Mbaleka. We truly appreciate your effort to be here with us, to share with us all this interesting information. Your presentations have enriched us, and we are grateful for your contribution to this conference. I invite you all to give a round of applause to our plenary speakers. Thank you. And I also want to express my appreciation for each researcher that presented his research results during the parallel sessions. It was an excellent opportunity to share and debate new ideas. I would like also to express my gratitude to everybody who attended today's session. I'm confident that you have gained valuable insights and wider perspective in your respective fields of interest. And last but not least, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the persons who made this event possible. I planned to invite here with me all the organizing committee, but they are not all here. But I shall invite here the persons who are in the room. I will not read out their official responsibilities, because all of them have gone above and beyond their assigned tasks. And I'd like to start with Dr. Janina Petre, who was please come here with us. She has been the soul and the head of the organizing committee. I also want to invite here Dr. Eliza Spătărelu, please. I hope I'm not missing anyone. And the soon-to-be Dr. Luisa Capătă, please come here with us. Thank you all for your hard working and for making this event possible for all of us. Thank you. We are concluding now the education and social science section of our conference. Thank you once again for your participation. I hope you will have a good night rest, and that you will come here tomorrow with fresh forces to attend to the theology section and also to the courses offered by the Erasmus International Staff Week. And before you leave the room, I invite you all to come here to have a picture together to remember this beautiful day. Thank you. Please.